graduate level exam and the CLAT examination. So do visit AKS IAS Academy and the website of AKS IAS Academy. About me, I am Sandeep Bhushan and my credentials are: I have 10 years of teaching experience for civil services. I teach international relations and internal security and the analysis of the Hindu newspaper. And this session will certainly help you to crack prelims and mains examinations, because I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases, and these keywords and key phrases will certainly make you get into the mode of identifying the factual, analytical and also the conceptual questions, which will be very useful for prelims as well as mains examinations. And in regards to the mains examinations, when or while you are imbibing the keywords and the key phrases in your answers, it will certainly help you to score higher marks so that you can have an edge over others. So this session will certainly help you for prelims as well as mains, both for 2020 as well as 2021. And today's session, that is DNA, that is daily news analysis of 5th of October 2020, we will take up. And the quote of the day is: the key to success is to raise your own energy. So definitely make sure that your energy is high, so that your energy will be the key to your success. So do not lose any kind of hope or energy if you certainly want to have success throughout your preparation. And the news what we are taking up today is in the daily news analysis is by the government or the Union Health Minister. Harshavardhan has made it very clear that or he has indicated that 24 crore individuals are likely to be inoculated. So what you mean by inoculated? It is immunize or vaccinate with a double dose of COVID-19 vaccine by next July 2029. So certainly by July 2029, almost 25 crore of Indian population would be inoculated, that is immunized or vaccinated with a double dose of COVID-19. So this is a very good news by the government, that is the Union Health Minister, that yes, probably the vaccine for the COVID-19 is almost to be ready by the first quarter of 2021. And the states, the Union Health Minister has also made it very clear that states have to be prepared, so that they have to come up with a list by this month end, that what is the priority population groups which are to be vaccinated once the vaccine is ready for the COVID-19. So the Union Health Minister is asking the states also to be ready or to prepare with a list. That is, which list are we talking about? It is a list of the priority population group which are to be vaccinated, and this priority population groups which are or which will be vaccinated might include the frontline health workers, both who are serving for the government and also for the private sector. So it could be the doctors, nurses, paramedicians and then sanitary staff, ASHA workers, surveillance officers and others who are involved in the tracing, testing and treatment of the patients. So these could be the priority population groups. Along, in that it is the frontline health workers who would certainly need the dose, that is the vaccine, to be vaccinated to the frontline workers. And definitely the center is also working on plans. So what are the plans? Plans for building capacities. So these building capacities are to be taken up by the center, and the center is certainly working on the building capacities which are in regards to the human resources and the building capacities in regards to training and supervision, so that building capacity of human resource training and supervision are being taken up at a massive scale, so that they will definitely have a roughly estimation of how much or how many doses are required for 20 to 25 crore people which have to be or who would be administered by the COVID-19 vaccine by next July. So they are going ahead with the entire building capacities that they would estimate that 400 to 500 million doses are required for administering 20 to 25 crore people in India by July 2021. And the states are also asked by the center to submit a detailed of cold chain facilities. That means they are all ready in regards to the supply chain system of the COVID-19 vaccine, and the one which will be the prominent one which will be ready for the COVID-19 vaccine is the Covishield, and the government is, that is the center is asking the states to submit the detailed submission of the cold chain facilities and related to the infrastructure which are required at the block level, so that the state is ready for administering the vaccine of Covishield. And there are three prominent candidates which are being tested in India. That is, the Covishield is in the phase 3 trial, and this Covishield is developed by Oxford University with the pharma major that is AstraZeneca, and it is tested by an institute in India which is in Pune, that is Serum Institute of India. So Covishield, it is marketed by the pharma major, or it is the pharmaceutical company which is involved in the Covishield, which is developed by Oxford University, is AstraZeneca, and it is marketed by the Serum Institute of India, Pune. And definitely at least 50 million doses are required, or they should be available in India, and they would be available in India, and the amount which they are expecting per vaccination is rupees 250. So definitely you have, along with this Covishield, you have another two candidates which are also working in regards to the COVID-19 vaccine, that is being tested by Zydus Cadila along with AstraZeneca and Bharat Biotech, but they are in the phase 2 trial. But when you focus in regards to the Covishield, it is in the phase 3 trial. So there is probability that it could be available by the first quarter of 2021, and 20 to 25 crore people would be administered by the Covishield by July 2021. And definitely this will have a further push up for the economic recovery once the vaccine comes into action. So the normal situation will prevail, and then it will add to the push up to the economic recovery. And before I get into the next, D Suvarna, a warm welcome to you all. Aruna, Kiran, a warm welcome to AKS IAS Academy, and also the one who are in the live. And definitely the economic indicators which are showing that there is recovery in few sectors, and in other sectors also there is recovery, comparing it with the previous year's indicators or economic indicators, certainly shows that there is recovery in the various sectors. If you look at the sectors, that is the 8 core sectors, there is contraction, or there was contraction in the month of June, but definitely from July and August there is a little bit progress even in the 8 core sectors, and there is a positive or partial recovery in the economic indicators because of the positive results taken up by the government of India in regards to the package, that is the economic stimulus package which the government of India has taken in regards to the 20 lakh crore rupees, and that is part of the Atmanirbhar Bharat package. And this has to be, and this had been taken so that there would be reviving of the structural reforms by the government, so that these structural reforms by the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan package has combated, or it has effectively handled the downside risk to the short term and medium term growth of the country, which was posed by the COVID-19 pandemic situation. So if you look at here, the 5 pillars of the Atmanirbhar Bharat or the self-reliant is focusing on economy, infrastructure, system, demography and demand. So these are all the one which have been focused or part of the Atmanirbhar Bharat package, which are the 5 pillars for the self-reliant India. And there is another news which talks about the Delhi High Court has ruled that in regards to the protection of children from sexual offences. So here the act is POCSO Act, which is again very important, and the Delhi High Court is talking about the section 29 of the protection of children for sexual offences, and there is a mention that the POCSO Act, definitely as per section 29, it says that the person is prosecuted for committing an offence of a sexual assault against a minor, and it says that they shall presume the person to be accused so that he is found to be guilty in regards to the committing an offence of sexual assault against a minor. We will look at the why Delhi High Court has spoken about this in regards to the POCSO Act of section 29, because this act or section 29, it triggers and it applies once the trial begins. Please do understand, I will explain it in detail why the Delhi High Court has come up with this section 29 of POCSO Act, saying that the section 29 gets triggered and it applies once the trial begins. Once the trial begins against an person who has committed an offence of sexual assault against a minor, that is after the charges are framed. So once the charges are framed against the accused, this section 29 of POCSO Act gets triggered and it applies once the charges are framed and the trial begins. And this reverse burden on the accused to prove his innocence was incorporated in the POCSO Act. Why it was incorporated? That the section 29 would be triggered and applied once the charges are framed against the accused, because earlier there was very low conviction rate of sexual offences against the children. So there was no conviction in regards to the conviction was very low in regards to the sexual offences against the children in the past. So to make sure that the conviction rate is higher against the rate of sexual offences against the children, section 29 of POCSO Act was introduced in such a way that the section 29 would be triggered and applied once the charges are framed against the accused. Please do understand, this is the important keyword. Once the charges are framed against the accused, this section 29 of the POCSO Act gets applied to the individual, the one who is accused. Why? We will look at. Why it is in news, we will look at. And then Harika Yadav, T. Bhikshapati have joined. A warm welcome to both of you to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. And here the question whether the presumption of guilt applies. See, now please look at it. There is a question. Now question is whether the person is found guilty or section 29 of the POCSO Act triggers and it is applied. Is question mark now. Is it at the time of stage of trial or does it apply when a bail plea is considered? This is what is important now. These are the two keywords. That means the section 29 of the POCSO Act applies to an accused when a trial or at the stage of the trial or when the charges are framed, or the section 29 applies to an accused when a bail plea is considered. So here please do understand, is it at the trial time or at the bail time? This is the crucial keywords. Section 29 of the POCSO Act, it triggers or applies onto the accused. Is it at the time of the trial of the cases or when the person is being charged or framed charges against him, or at the time of bail? And this cropped up while hearing a bail plea. So this was discussed when there was an hearing in the High Court, that is in the Delhi High Court, that a plea of a 24-year-old man was arrested for allegedly sexual assault on a minor. So when there was a case which has come to hearing in regards to whether the section 29 of the POCSO Act will be applicable or charged, or it will be applied at the time of the stage of the trial or at the time of the bail plea. This was actually taken up, or it has come up for the hearing, and the High Court has said that no, it applies at the time of trial. So the Justice Anup Jairam has very clearly clarified that if a bail plea is being considered before charges have been framed, and that is, if that is considered, bail plea is considered before the charges, then the main intention of the section 29 has no application. Therefore trial commences when charges are framed. So entire trial goes ahead with, or section 29 of the POCSO Act is applied when the charges are framed against the accused, and not before that. So it is at the time of trial itself. So this is what it has come to the in the hearing in the Delhi High Court. And there is another news which talks about the Supreme Court is against the involuntary narco test. So here the keyword is involuntary. So what do you mean by involuntary? Involuntary is compulsory or mandatory. So whenever there is a compulsory or mandatory administration of a narco or a lie detector test onto the individual, it is wrong, it says, or else the Supreme Court is saying it is against the compulsory or mandatory of narco test or a lie detector test onto the individuals, because it is involuntary narco test is intrusion, that is you are barging into another person's fundamental rights and you are barging into person's mental privacy. Please look at it. Narco test, linking it with the Supreme Court, what it is actually giving, has gone ahead with the judgment. So Supreme Court judgment in 2010. Now we are focusing in regards to the 2010. What in 2010? Why we are focusing in regards to 2010? We will also discuss why it is in news. But in the year 2010, Supreme Court has given a judgment that involuntary, that is compulsory or forcefully or mandatory narco test on the individual is intrusion, that is you are barging into, you are forcefully making a person to go ahead or undergo a narco or lie detector test, which is a person's mental privacy. Why we are now coming ahead with this 2010 judgment is in news now, because it is significant, because now in Uttar Pradesh, the Uttar Pradesh government wants to subject the same narco test, which is involuntary narco test. Involuntary means compulsory or mandatory narco test on the Hathras rape and murder victims' family members. Please do understand, on the Hathras rape and murder victims' family members, both Hathras rape and murder victims' family member. So both the sides, they wanted to go ahead with the narco test, and when they are going ahead with this, the court says, or said in the past also, consequences when you are going ahead in regard, when the administration or the government itself is going ahead with the involuntary narco test on the individual, that is especially focusing on the weaker section of the society, and these weaker section of the society in general are unaware of the fundamental rights, and they are unable to afford any kind of legal advice, and those things can be devastating in the democratic country. So thereby the court says that the individuals, especially of the weaker section of the society, it is against their privacy and you are intruding into it, and because many of the weaker section people in the society are unaware of their fundamental rights and they cannot afford any kind of legal advice, so therefore involuntary narco test by the Uttar Pradesh government would be a devastating one. And not only that, the involuntary narco test also involves abuse, harassment and surveillance that is which there could be a possibility of the leakage of the video material to the press by the trial of media, and all these tests are definitely in regards to the human dignity and human liberty. So it is privacy, it is against the dignity of an individual, it is against the liberty of an individual, wherein it would have a devastating effect and a long lasting effect onto the individual, especially onto the individual from weaker sections of the society who are really unaware of the fundamental rights, that their dignity, liberty and privacy is protected by the Constitution of India, and they are not in a position to afford any kind of legal advice. So definitely this is a crucial information, or the Supreme Court verdict of 2010, and the Supreme Court is now against the narco or involuntary narco test, and the apex court has held, that is the Supreme Court has held, and individuals' decisions to make a statement in the product of private choice. So when we are talking about the involuntary narco test or narco test, it is a private choice, and when it is a private choice, that means a person would, whether he or she would go or undergo a narco or a lie detector test, there should be no scope for any other individuals to interfere in such autonomy. So it is an autonomy, it is a dignity, and it is liberty, and it is privacy. Please do understand, autonomy, liberty, dignity and privacy So all this would be at a devastating, or the fundamental rights of the weaker sections would be, what you say, just left to the government, any government. And this judgment was in regards to the Selvi versus State of Karnataka, and in that the court as, or else the judgment has observed that involuntary administration, what is involuntary, I said, it is wherein you are making it compulsion or mandatory of the scientific test, that is the narco test or lie detector test, was sufficient to constitute a custodial environment. So you are creating a custodial environment, and it amounts to what? Restraint on personal liberty. So you are restraining on the personal liberty by involuntary administering the scientific test, that is the narco or lie detector test. So thereby the Supreme Court is against the narco test or involuntary narco test which is being taken up, or which is by the Uttar Pradesh government in regards to the Hathras rape case, and the law disapproves involuntary testimony, disapproves, because it is against the privacy, and forceful interference with a person's mental process is not provided under any statute. This is very important for your better understanding. So this forcible interference or involuntary administration onto the person's mental process is not at all provided under any statute in India, and in most certainly the conflict with right against self-incrimination is also was authored by the then Chief Justice of India, that is KG Balakrishnan. So therefore the 2001 judgment, that is Selvi versus State of Karnataka, and then also the Supreme Court now which is saying that it is against the involuntary judgment or involuntary action which is being taken up by the Uttar Pradesh government in regards to the administration of narco and lie detector test. So this is very, very important observation of the Supreme Court judgment of 2010, and now the apex court is against the involuntary narco test, which is, there are reports that the Uttar Pradesh government wants to subject the Hathras rape and murder victims' family members to undergo the narco test. And there is another news which talks about Jawan killed in Arunachal Pradesh, ambush in the sense it is attack by whom it is unknown, but there is an attack onto the Jawans, and because of this they are suspecting that extremists were part of this ambush or attack, and wherein one army personnel or else Assam Rifles Jawan has been killed in an ambush in the Changlang district of Arunachal Pradesh. And there was another incident also wherein there was an Jawan who was injured seriously at an Hetlong village in a Jairampur police station limit. And when we are looking at this, no group has taken responsibility in regards to the ambush or attack onto the water tank of the army or army water tank. But the district officials and the security forces are suspecting that this ambush could be the work of the United Liberation Front of Assam, that is ULFA I, independent, or it could be the work of NSCN-K. NSCN is National Socialist Council of Nagaland, which was headed by K means Kaplan, the name of the person, because NSCN was divided into two groups, NSCN IM Isaac and Mua, and NSCN K. K is Kaplan, the name of the person, K and IM. So now the extremists or a group which the district officials and the security forces also suspect is that NSCN might be part of it. Why we have to look at this news? Because of the GS paper 3 internal security. A water tank of 19 Assam Rifles was under attack by the suspected extremists, and we have seen that NSCN-K militants have also attacked. A similar kind of situation has taken place onto the Assam Rifles water tank in 2019 in Mon districts, wherein 2 were killed there. So this is very important information in regards to the internal security that is focusing on the terrorist or militant groups in northeastern states, ULFA and NSCN-K, NSCN-IM. And there is another news which talks about Z pitches for closer ties with Bangladesh. This is again in regards to the international relations, wherein Chinese president is very much focused in regards to the closer ties with Bangladesh, and he wanted to push the BRI, Belt and Road Initiative. So definitely Xi Jinping is ready to have a better alignment and have a very strategic importance to be given to Bangladesh in regards to promoting the construction of a multi-dollar or multi-billion dollar initiative, that is Belt and Road Initiative, so that the strategic partnership of both the countries, that is China and Bangladesh, would reach at a new height. So definitely Xi Jinping is wanting to have a better or a strategic partnership to take up at a new heights because of the jointly promoting the Belt and Road Initiative. So the keyword here is Belt and Road Initiative, and definitely the exchange or both the countries wanted to go ahead with promoting the Belt and Road Initiative because both the countries are now having they are under the 45th anniversary of the establishment of bilateral diplomatic relations between China and Bangladesh. So it is the 45th anniversary of diplomatic relationship bilaterally between China and Bangladesh. Thereby Xi Jinping is pushing for or is stressing for strategic partnership of going ahead with Belt and Road Initiative at a greater heights. And definitely China has wanted to invest $26 billion along with $38 billion funding to Bangladesh in regards to the infrastructure projects in Bangladesh, so that they will go ahead with having a better strategic partnership and increase or make sure that the bilateral diplomatic relations between China and Bangladesh reaches to a greater heights. And China has also offered zero tariff treatment to almost 97% of Bangladesh exports. So again, if you look at this, definitely it is a kind of a message being sent to India that the neighboring countries of India are being made sure by China to be attracted into its fold, and definitely it has given 97% zero tariff treatment, so that all of them, or else almost 3000 odd duty free products which can enter into, or Bangladesh exports into China. So definitely Bangladesh will drift towards China, and BRI seeks to build, that is Belt and Road Initiative would certainly want to increase, or certainly wanted to increase the building of construction of rail, maritime and road links, especially from Asia to Europe and further to Africa. Why? So that they can revive the ancient Silk Road trading routes. So this is the Belt and Road Initiative, which is the most important initiative taken up by, or the project taken up by Xi Jinping itself, and he wanted to go ahead with having the connectivity from Asia to Europe through rail, maritime and also road links further to Europe, Asia, Europe and then further to Africa also, wherein it will revive the ancient Silk Road trading route. And if you look at, China has also sent its medical team to Bangladesh during the coronavirus time, and then Bangladesh is also part of many countries taken up by China in regards to the clinical trials of China going ahead with its vaccine. And now we'll focus at what are the Indian concerns in regards to China's investments, huge investments in Bangladesh infrastructure, and in regards to the way China is trying to drift Bangladesh towards itself, wherein Bangladesh is the neighboring country of India also. So definitely the BRI is one of the major concepts which is a bone of contention between India and China, because BRI passes through the Pakistan occupied Kashmir, that is Gilgit and Baltistan, wherein India says that Gilgit and Baltistan is an integral part of India, and thereby India is not really happy, or India is against the BRI, and part of the BRI is the $60 billion project, that is CPEC, $60 billion. China's part of BRI is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, and definitely China is not only going ahead with CPEC in the Pakistan occupied Kashmir, which is in Gilgit and Baltistan, wherein India is strongly opposing it, but China has stepped up, or China has improved its investment, that is huge infrastructure investment in Bangladesh, in Nepal, in Sri Lanka, Maldives, so definitely along with Pakistan. So definitely this is a growing concern and the growing influence of China onto the India's immediate neighborhood. So this is where we need to focus in regards to the international relations, that how BRI is the concern of growing influence of China in India's immediate borders. So that is very, very crucial. And BRI is Xi Jinping's top priority initiative, which aims, why? Because it aims China's global influence from Asia to Africa to Europe through rail, road and maritime also. So it is wanting to explore the global influence, definitely global market, global influence also. So that is a major concern to India. And you have another term here which we need to focus, the keyword is debt diplomacy, because we have heard various diplomacies coming into action by various countries to make sure that their national interest is protected. So here in this case, debt diplomacy is being taken up by China, but definitely there are allegations, especially from US, in regards to the debt diplomacy taken up by China, that is in regards to Sri Lanka, wherein Sri Lanka has handed over its Hambantota port for the infrastructure development to China in the year 2017 for 99 years lease, and this was in regards to the debt swap which has mounted to 1.2 billion. So definitely this is a debt diplomacy, and this is slowly China is trying to get into the mode of debt diplomacy in making sure that it will try to protect various other countries in financial or debt, especially focusing on Pakistan and Bangladesh also, so Myanmar also. So this is the another one which is a keyword which you need to focus as part of the mains, debt diplomacy. And if you look at Malaysia also was part of it, but Malaysia has recently deferred various projects which have been taken up by China under the BRI. Why? Because Malaysia has deferred in the sense postponed several projects. Why it has postponed? Because of coming up with the reason that cost revaluation. So because of the cost of the projects, and it wanted to reevaluate the cost of the several projects, so thereby which are part of the BRI, Belt and Road Initiative, even Malaysia has now deferred. So definitely we have seen Sri Lanka also once in 2015 China did not really have the same kind of investments, infrastructure investments in Hambantota port after 2015, or prior to it, it had a very good rapport. So definitely these are the one which are very, very crucial for your prelims, and now we will recapitulate the one which we have discussed. So the first one is in regards to the science and technology. So there is a possibility that the vaccine could be, or 20 to 25 crore people would be administered by the vaccine of Covishield probably, and it is just around 225 to 250 rupees per vaccination. And section 29 of POXO, so when we are talking about it, it is in regards to the High Court verdict, and definitely it is part of the internal security, which is again onto the sexual offences onto the minors, and this is in regards to the dignity of the person, talking about dignity, liberty, privacy of a individual also, wherein the Supreme Court is against the involuntary narco test, and we have looked at the 2001 judgment. And this again we have looked at in regards to internal security, wherein the several extremists are being part of the making or creating violence and then turning against the security personnel in northeastern states. And this is part of the international relations, wherein China is definitely trying to push its BRI project into various countries which are the immediate neighboring countries of India. And Ravi Babu has joined, and then the Pandangi has also joined. So both of you a warm welcome. And then I hope this was a very informative, knowledgeable session. And then I would say a very big thank you to all, and then a good luck to you all. And then before you sign up, do like the video, share the video and subscribe the video, and then visit the AKS IAS Academy website, and also subscribe the Telegram link of AKS IAS Academy, and I would come up with the daily news analysis tomorrow at 7:30 AM. But prior to that, please make sure that you have or you follow or maintain the consistency throughout your preparation, and do stick to your schedule, and then do take care of your physical health and mental health. And then see you tomorrow at 7:30 AM. And then please go through the yesterday's civil services preliminary examination question paper, and then try to evaluate how the questions are framed, so that how your preparation can be, or you can focus for 2021 or for 2022 also. So thank you very much. See you tomorrow.